Not true. Yes, can hear.
I'm hearing myself. How is this? I should not hear myself.
Hare Krishna, we can hear you.
Not true. Now you're muted.
Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we continue with our beautiful reading of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. So today we're beginning a new chapter, the second chapter, the appearance of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to the beatific Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Sri Jagannatha Mishra's son and the supreme of all. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, the life and soul of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Gadadhar Pandita. All glories to the shelter of Sri Advaita Acharya and the unlimited devotees. All glories to Sri Gauranga and his associates. One receives loving devotion to the Supreme Lord simply by hearing transcendental topics about that to speak of the pastimes of the Lord may appear upon my tongue. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, the ocean of compassion, and all glories to Lord Nityananda, the embodiment of loving devotional service. The spiritual truths, brothers, Lord stopped. Yet, by their causeless mercy, their absolute identities are revealed. Lord Brahma was enlightened about the absolute truth by Lord Krishna's mercy. Srimad Bhagavatam and all Vedic scriptures describe this. The Srimad Bhagavatam states, "May the Lord, who is the beginning of the creation, amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and thus inspired him with the full knowledge of creation and his own supreme self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, be pleased with me." In the beginning, Lord Brahma did not have the power to say anything, although he had been born upon the lotus from the Lord's navel. However, when he completely surrendered himself to the Supreme Lord, the Lord, by his causeless mercy, appeared before him. This mercy enlightened Lord Brahma with absolute knowledge of the Supreme Lord, the original of all incarnations. Thereafter, spontaneous pure glorification of the Lord sprang from Brahma's mouth. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prasharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatar Deshatarine Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Without Lord Krishna's causeless mercy, it is impossible to know the truth about his incarnations. His supramundane pastimes are inconceivable and inaccessible. Lord Brahma, as described in the Bhagavata Purana 10:14-21, O Lord of the universe, O Supreme Person, O Supreme Soul, O Lord of mystic powers, how marvelous you are. Who within the three worlds can know when, where, why, and how you expand your internal spiritual potency, Yoga Maya, and perform your transcendental pastimes? Who can fathom the reason of the descent of Sri Krishna to this world? Therefore, I can only submit the conclusions of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad Purana as reasons for his appearance. In the Bhagavad Gita 4:7-8, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, so descended of Bharata, and the predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself, in order to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion. I advent myself yuga after yuga. Whenever religious practice becomes weak, irreligion gradually increases. Therefore, Lord Brahma and the demigods humbly request the Lord to appear, protect the pious, and destroy the demons. In order to reestablish the religious process of the particular age, the Supreme Lord descends upon the earth with his eternal associates. The religion for the present Kali Yuga is the congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name in order to propagate this religious process. Lord Caitanya has appeared as the son of Sachimata. It is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam that the Supreme Absolute Truth, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, incarnates solely to propagate the congregational chanting of Krishna's holy name. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 5, 31 and 32, O King Nimi, devotees always offer prayers to the Supreme Lord Hari. But now I will explain how the devotees in the Kali Yuga offer the choicest prayers accompanied by various rituals and regulations for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. In this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential associates by the performance of Sankirtana Yagya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya, is propagating the essence of all religion for the age of Kali, the congregational chanting of Lord Hari's holy name. Accompanied by his associates, the Lord has appeared in Kali Yuga simply to establish the religious practice of congregational chanting. According to the Lord's desire, his eternal associates appeared before him, taking birth in human society. Anantashesha, Shiva, Brahma, the sages, and other associates of the Lord all took birth in highly elevated pure Vaishnava devotees known as Bhagavatas. Lord Chaitanya, Krishna, knew everyone's position and identity. Most of them took birth in Avadvip. Yet some were born in Chattagram, Radhadesh, or Srihata, and still others in Orissa. All these associates appear in different places, but everyone met in Avadvip by the arrangement of the Lord. Srivas Pandit, Sri Ram Pandit, and Sri Chandrasekhar are personalities worship in all three worlds. Sri Murari Gupta can cure the disease of material entanglement. Vaishnavas of this caliber appeared in Sri Hata. Pundarika Vidyanidhi, the foremost Vaishnava devotee, Chaitanya Balaba, who was very dear to Lord Chaitanya, and Vasudeva Datta, all appeared in Chattogram. Haridas Thakura appeared in Bhutan. The village Ekachakra is in the Radha district of Bengal. The Supreme Lord Nityananda made his appearance there. Lord Nityananda is factually the Supreme Father of all living entities. But to show mercy upon Hadai Pandit, a Brahmin and pure devotee, he took birth as his son. Lord Nityananda is an ocean of mercy, the shelter of all Vaishnava devotees, and the giver of devotion. He appeared in the district of Radhadesh, expressing their happiness at the appearance of Lord Nityananda. The demigods made joyous sounds and showered flowers. All this was performed unseen by ordinary mundane eyes. From the time of Nityananda's appearance, the Radhadesha district grew increasingly prosperous day by day. Shri Paramananda Puri was Lord Chaitanya's close associate in Nilachala, appeared in Trihut in Mithila, Bihar. When the lands on the banks of Mother Ganga are all places of pilgrimage, why did the Vaishnava devotees appear in impious lands? Chaitanya himself descended on the banks of Mother Ganga, so why did his eternal associates appear in faraway places? In their travels, the Pandavas avoided countries devoid of the sound of the holy name of the Lord and the waters of Mother Ganga. Lord Krishna Chaitanya, being compassionate of the unfortunate souls born in those lands, arranged for the pure Vaishnava devotees to appear there. His own appearance was required to redeem the material world. In order to accomplish this, he arranged for his pure devotees to take birth in impious lands and impious families. Wherever and in whichever family the pure Vaishnava devotee appears, he is able to purify everyone there by his pure spiritual potency. The birthplace of a pure Vaishnava becomes a place of pilgrimage. Therefore, the Supreme Lord Chaitanya arranged that his associates take birth in many different places. Although they were all born in different places, they met as if by accident in Navadvip. Lord Chaitanya's birthplace was Navadvip. Hence, Navadvip was the meeting place of all the devotees. The glories of Navadvip cannot be compared to any other place in the world. Knowing of Lord Chaitanya's descent in Navadvip, Providence made it a prosperous and flourishing town to receive the Lord. Who is capable of describing Navadvipas? Krishna Kishore, be attentive to admit everybody, please.
Yes, Ashu.
Otherwise, I have to do it and distract from the reading. Who is capable of describing Navadvipa's opulence? Hundreds of thousands crowded to bathe on the banks of the Ganga. By Goddess Saraswati's grace, the residents of Navadvip of all different ages were learned exponents of the scriptures. The people were proud of their material knowledge. Even young boys argued logic with senior scholars. Students came from different parts of the country to study Navadvip because in Navadvip they could get high training and taste in scholastics. The number of students in Navadvip was incalculable, and the exact count of teachers was undetermined. The residents were content, blessed by the favorable glances of Rama Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. But they wasted their time spending money for sense pleasures and other worldly affairs. As they are grown prouder and more materialistic, the people's taste for devotional service to the Supreme Lord had decreased alarmingly, and the beginning of Kali Yuga had ushered in immoral activities. The only religious or devotional activities they knew were invocations to the demigods and demigoddesses, especially Durga Devi, and prayers for temporary material benedictions. Some arrogantly worshipped Manasa, the goddess of snakes. Others wasted huge amounts of wealth worshipping dolls. They squandered large sums on the marriage of their sons and daughters, and in this way they wasted their human life. Even the supposedly knowledgeable high priests, the Bhattacharyas, Chakravartis, or Mishras, did not know the purpose of the scriptures. Though they taught the scriptures, their activities were contrary to scripture injunction. So along with their students, they drowned in a deluge of iniquity. Nobody was engaged in explaining the importance of congregational chanting of Lord Krishna's holy name, the religion of Kali Yuga. They spent their time simply finding faults in others. As for the superstitious so-called renunciates and hermits, not a single name of Krishna ever escaped their mouths. They consider most pious in societies. Those considered most pious in society were heard repeating the Lord's name Govinda and Pundarikaksha only once at the time of daily ablution. Devotional perspectives were invariably absent in the explanation of transcendental literatures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vaishnava devotees of the Lord became distressed upon seeing the general population engrossed in material existence under the external energy of the Lord. They compassionately thought, how can all these living entities be liberated? They are completely mesmerized by the myth of sense pleasures. Although the people were requested to chant Krishna's holy name by the devotees, they refused, and instead they foolishly busied themselves acquiring fruitless material knowledge. The elevated Vaishnava devotees continued their devotional activities by worshipping Krishna, taking bath in the Ganga, and discussing Krishna's conscious topics. The Vaishnavas became moved to benedict humanity and prayed that Lord Krishna would quickly shower his mercy upon them. Foremost of the great Vaishnavas in Navadvip was Advaitacharya, who is glorified throughout the world. This preeminent spiritual preceptor was the glorious exponent of the absolute science of devotion and renunciation. His delineation of Krishna conscious topics equaled that of Lord Shiva. His explanation on all existing scriptures arrived at the same conclusion. The essence of everything is devotion to Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Advaita constantly worshipped Lord Krishna with great devotion, offering him tulasi manjaris, blossoms, and Ganga water. His intense attachment for Lord Krishna made him call out and resound loudly in exaltation. This ecstatic sound penetrated the coverings of the material world, passed by the abode of Lord Brahma, and entered into Vaikuntha, captured by the booming ecstatic sound of Advaita's Acharya's love. Lord Krishna personally appeared for his control by the love of his devotee. Advaita Acharya Prabhu was the leader of Vaishnavas. His devotional service was the most glorious in Lord Brahma's planetary system. In this way, Advaita Acharya spent his days absorbed in devotional service in Navadvip. However, he suffered acute pain at the sight of persons bereft of devotional service. The people were all mad after mundane sense pleasures. No one was keen to worship or serve Lord Krishna. Some worshipped Vasuti, a female deity identified with Chandi, with many gifts, while others worshipped the Yakshas with flesh and wine. They drowned in the endless tumult of singing, dancing, and music, their ears deaf to the nectarine calls of the auspicious names of Lord Krishna. The demigods are not satisfied with worship from humankind that is ultimately not meant for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. Advaita Acharya in particular was extremely unhappy about such worship. So we can see by these statements by Vrindavan Das Thakur that even in Navadvip at that time, and this was 500 years ago, where still was a lot of piety in society, even in such a holy place, people were becoming so degraded, addicted to even to eat flesh and drink wine. Amazing. Even in Navadvipa, such a holy place, people were so proud of their so-called scholarship. They were just engrossed in sense gratification. And that's the situation, that was the circumstances in which the Lord decided to appear. So what to speak of the rest of the world 500 years ago? In Europe was the so-called culture was so degraded, so addicted to sense gratification, so much in a mode of passion and ignorance, practically no goodness, even though so-called great religions were very prominent in the West, people were so degraded. Very, very extreme degradation at those days. Of course, now it's much worse, but as to see how 500 years ago. And they were worshipping demigods, but worshipping demigods for material purpose, for their own sense gratification. It means that we can worship the demigods if it's meant for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. So that's why Advaita Acharya was very unhappy by seeing how they were wasting their time worshipping the demigods for material purposes. Advaita Acharya Prabhu had a very compassionate nature. He was always thinking of how to liberate the conditioned souls. He would say, if my Lord descends, then he can liberate everyone. I am known as Advaita Singha, Advaita the lion. However, this name will only be justified if I can convince the beloved Lord of Vaikuntha to appear in this world. I will cause the Lord of Vaikuntha to descend in person, and all shall sing and dance in transcendental joy. In this way, all the conditioned souls shall be liberated. So Advaita Acharya, even though along with other associates of the Lord, they were all covered by Yoga Maya, forgetful of their real identity, like Advaita Acharya is Lord Mahavishnu himself. They were oblivious of their constitutional position because of the Lord's Yoga Maya. But he was aware that it was the time for the propagation of the holy names, the Sankirtana Yagya, because it's predicted. It was predicted long before. Consider matters in this way. Advaita constantly worshipped the lotus feet of Sri Krishna with undeviating resolve. Lord Caitanya made his appearance because of Advaita Acharya Prabhu's sincere plea. The Lord himself often repeated this fact. Srivas Pandit and his three brothers were residents of Navadvip. They always chanted Lord Krishna's name, bathed in a Ganga, and worshipped Krishna thrice a day. Later, Lord Caitanya performed many pastimes in Srivasa's house. So these were the two main personalities, along with Haridas Thakur. The three great personalities, we invoke the appearance of the Lord. We hear more about Advaita Acharya that was calling very loud while worshipping Shalagram Shila and with Ganga and Tulasi leaves, but also Srivasa Thakura. He was also praying for the Lord, crying for the Lord's appearance, and Haridas Thakur also. Haridas Thakur was already spreading the holy names even before the Lord's advent. preparing the field for the Lord's appearance, already propagating the holy names. Amazing. And we could see, you can see throughout history of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he gave he had a particular relationship with these three great personalities, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur. Very special relationship with personalities, because they were moved with so much compassion for all the inhabitants of Kali Yuga, fallen, very fallen souls of this Kali Yuga, this particular Kali Yuga. On the instruction of Lord Chaitanya, many of his eternal associates like Sri Chandrasekhar, Sri Jagadish, Sri Gopinath, Sri Man, Sri Murari, Sri Garuda, Sri Gangadas appear before himself. In connection with these various incidents, I mention only those personalities known personally to me. Otherwise, to mention every individual would make this book bulky. Each one of these magnanimous devotees executed his spiritual duties and was concerned only with devotional service to Krishna. They were unaware of one another's inner spiritual identity, yet they mixed intimately as confidential friends. As they did not know about their own constitutional position because of the influence of Yoga Maya, they were also unaware of the spiritual identity of all these devotees with whom they associate so close, so intimately. But they were attracted to each other. Wherever they looked, they saw a world devoid of devotion, and their hearts were seared with sorrow. They found no one with any taste for the nectar of Lord Krishna's pastimes. So they simply glorified the Lord amongst themselves. Often they spent many hours together in Sri Advaita Acharya's residence discussing topics of Lord Krishna. And in this manner, they dispelled all discontent. Feel satisfaction in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, the glories of the Lord, because they were surrounded by so many impious souls, so many degraded people. So the same, we can take solace, take comfort by hearing, by associating with devotees and hearing about the glories of the Lord, like we are doing now in this virtual room. The devotees saw the world burning in the flames of material existence, and yet they found no opportunity to inspire the people to an awareness of Krishna. They caused them great sorrow. This caused them great sorrow. Sri Advaita Acharya had gathered together the community of Vaishnavas, and they had attempted to make the people conscious of Krishna, but not a soul could understand. Stricken with grief at the suffering of the people, Sri Advaita Acharya began fasting. All the Vaishnavas sighed deeply at the situation. Why sing and dance for Krishna? What is a Vaishnava? What is the benefit of congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name? Gross materialistic people running after wealth and family do not comprehend any of these things. Indeed, such atheists only taunt and laugh at the Vaishnavas. As every evening descended, Srivas Thakur and his three brothers would vociferously sing the Lord's name in their house. The theistic neighbors vilified Srivas Thakur, pronouncing him mad. They declared that the entire village would be destroyed because of him. They said that the tyrannical Muslim rulers would tear the village apart if they heard people loudly chanting Krishna's name. Some envious neighbors said that they would break down Srivas Thakur's house and float it down the Ganga in order to get rid of him. When Srivas Thakur leaves, only then will the village be peaceful again. Otherwise, the Muslim rulers will torture us. And they were so afraid because they had no faith in the Lord. They were so afraid of the Muslims who were ruling Bengal in those days, only because they had no faith in a shelter and protection of the Lord. While the devotees, they knew nothing could happen to them if they would take shelter of the Lord. When the saintly Vaishnavas heard such threats from the atheists, they simply wept, telling their sorries to Lord Krishna. Sri Advaitacharya burned with rage upon hearing this news, and unconcerned with his state of dress, he addressed the Vaishnavas. Listen, Shivastakura, Shri Gangadas, and Shuklambar, I shall make Lord Krishna appear before everyone's eyes. Lord Krishna will come personally and liberate everyone. In the company of you, the Vaishnavas, the Lord will teach the Haitis Krishna Prema. If I fail to keep my promise, I shall manifest my four-ended form and take up my disc. I shall sever the heads of all the atheists. Only then will it be confirmed that Lord Krishna is my Lord and Master, and that I am his servitor. Sri Advaitacharya spoke extensively, and then resolving within himself, he constantly worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, determined to evoke the Lord's appearance. The collective devotees also worship Lord Krishna's lotus feet with great attention and continuous tears. As the devotees went about their duties in Navadvipa town, nowhere did they find any discussion about Krishna or his devotional service. Thus shocked, the devotees became grief-stricken. Some contemplated leaving their bodies, while others sobbed Krishna's name, letting out deep, long sighs. So severe was the devotee's pain at the sight of the futile endeavors of a godless society that they lost all appetite. Finally, they renounced any material comfort, whereupon the Supreme Lord made his preparations to descend to the material world. By the Supreme Lord's desire, Lord Nityananda, the origin of Lord Ananda Shesha, descended before him in the land called Radhadesh. Lord Nityananda made his appearance in the womb of Srimati Padmavati Devi on the auspicious 13th day of the waxing moon in a village called Ekachakra. Although he is the original Supreme Father of everyone, Nityananda allowed Sri Hadai Pandit, a pure and elevate Brahma, to play the role of his father. The Supreme Lord Sri Balaram is an ocean of mercy and is the giver of pure devotional service to Krishna. He has again appeared, this time with the name Nityananda. The denizens of heavenly planets secretly celebrated this occasion, showering flower confetti and tumultuous sounds of joy and praise. Lord Nityananda's appearance in the land of Radhadesh gradually increased that district's good fortune in every respect. The Supreme Personality, who appeared to liberate the fallen souls, soon took the dress of a mendicant and traveled everywhere. In this manner, Lord Ananta made his advent. Now here, descriptions of Lord Krishna's advent. Sri Jagannath Mishra, the great transcendental personality, resided in Navadvip. He was like Vasudeva, Lord Krishna's father, always engaged in spiritual activities. He was magnanimous and possessed the zenith of all the Brahminical qualities. His qualities had no comparison in this world. Sri Jagannatha Mishra was of the same spiritual category as Kashyapa, Dasharat, Vasudeva, or Nanda. So now these are all names of incarnations of the Lord. Kashyapa Muni, father of Vamanadev, Dasharat, the father of Lord Ramachandra, Vasudeva, Krishna, Ananda, Shinandana Krishna of Vrindavan. His dedicated wife, Srimati Sachidevi, was the embodiment of devotion to the Supreme Lord. She was the universal mother. All her 8 daughters soon passed away, and she was left with one greatly fortunate son, Vishvarupa. She, Vishvarupa, was as beautiful and charming as Cupid, and the source of unlimited joy for his parents. From birth, Sri Vishvarupa was materially renounced, and as a child, he swiftly mastered all the different scriptures. However, the general society was becoming bereft of devotional service to the Lord, and the godlessness then visible in Navadvip at the beginning of Kali Yuga was indicative of what the future had in store. Yet the Supreme Lord descends when religious principles decline and feels that his devotees are suffering. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, entered into the bodies of Srimati Sachidevi and Sri Jagannatha Mishra. Lord Ananta sang hymns praising the Lord. Sri Jagannath Mishra and Sachidevi heard the glorification as if in a dream. Both husband and wife shone brightly with a spiritual radiance which ordinary eyes could not perceive. Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and the other demigods, understanding that the Supreme Lord was now appearing upon the earth, came and offered prayers. These mystical pastimes of the Lord are all recorded in the great Vedic scriptures. The following eulogies of Lord Brahma and the other demigods are most confidential knowledge, and hearing them will result in deep attachment for Krishna. All glories to the Supreme Lord Chaitanya, the maintainer of all. You are appearing to inaugurate the congregational chanting of the holy name. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, the protector of Vedic religion, saintly devotees and pious brahmanas. You are the destroyer of the non-devotees and death personified for the atheists. All glories to Lord Chaitanya. Your transcendental form is absolute, eternal and full of bliss. You are the Supreme Lord of Lords, whose desires cannot be obstructed. You are unmanifest in millions and millions of universes, yet you now manifest yourself in the womb of Srimati Sachidevi. Who can understand the activities of your sweet independent will? Creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the universes are just aspects of your wonderful pastimes. Your might, ignited only by your desire, can destroy the entire cosmic manifestation. With mere words, you may kill demons like Ravana and Kamsa. Yet, in spite of this potency, you appear in the houses of King Dasharat and Sri Vasudeva to kill personally those demons. Who can unravel the mystery behind your activities? Only you know your own sweet will. Simply by your desire, any one of your servitors can liberate all the innumerable universes. Yet, you personally descend to teach religious principles to the people of the world and thus benedict them. In Satya Yuga, you appear with a whitish complexion to teach the path of austerity and meditation by performing such austerity yourself. To establish your religious principles, you took the role of celibate Brahmin with matted hair, carrying an antelope skin, mendicant staff, and water pot. That's referring to Vamadeva. In Treta Yuga, you appear in a beautiful reddish complexion to teach the religious practice of fire sacrifice, with shruk and shruva in hand for the pouring of sacrificial ghee. You personally demonstrated and conducted the sacrificial rituals. In Dwapara Yuga, you came with a transcendently beautiful dark complexion of a monsoon cloud, and established deity worship in every house, wearing a yellow cloth and decorated with a Srivasa sign, which is exclusively yours. you taught opulent deity worship. In Kali Yuga, you now appear as a learned Brahmana with a golden yellow complexion to disseminate the most confidential religious practice of congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name. You accept unlimited incarnations. Who has the power to count them? In your incarnation as the transcendental fish, Matsya, you appear in the waters of the annihilation. As Kurma, the tortoise, you were the support of all living beings by supporting the Mandara mountain. As Ayagriva, you preserved the Vedas and killed the two demons, Madhu and Kaitaba. As Vara, the boar incarnation, you rescued the earth. And as Lord Nishingadev, you pierced and killed the demon Hiranyakashipu. As the dwarf incarnation, Lord Vamana, you outwitted the demon King Bali. As Parashuram, you rid the world of Kshatriyas, the fighting class. As Lord Ramachandra, you destroyed the demon Ravana. As Lord Balaram, who holds the plow, you have expanded unlimitedly. As Lord Buddha, you preach the religion of compassion and non-violence. As Lord Kaki, you will destroy the degraded malicious, those who do not follow the Vedic injunctions. As Lord Dhanvantari, you distributed the nectar of immortality, Amrita. And as Lord Hamsa, the swan incarnation, you spoke the knowledge of the absolute truth to Lord Brahma and others. As Narada Muni, you held the Vina and sang sweetly. And as Srila Vyasadeva, you explained the truth about yourself. Lord Krishna is above all these incarnations and their beautiful eternal pastimes. He eternally resides in Gokula with many variegated pleasure pastimes. In this incarnation, you appear as a pure unalloyed devotee. You disseminate the knowledge, devotional service, and chant the holy name. The nectar of congregation chanting of the holy name will drown the entire universe in waves of bliss, and every house will know the process of love of Krishna. Are we able to describe the universal ecstasy that will be aroused when you will dance with all your devotees and servitors? Just by their constant remembrance of your lotus feet, your pure devotees free this world of all ills and inauspiciousness. The touch of their feet dispel the dark omens of the world, and a mere glance from them purify all their actions. O Lord Caitanya, so glorious are your servitors. Then when they dance wonderfully with their arms upraised, they remove all disturbances in the heavenly planets. O King, accompany chanting at the Lord's name, the touch of their feet on the earth purifies the whole world. Their glance purify all their actions, and their upraised arms purify the higher planetary systems. This is from Mari Bhakti Sudodaya 2068. O Lord Chaitanya, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, now appearing to perform congregational chanting and distributing Krishna Prema in the association of your devotees. O Lord, who possess the words to describe your wonderful potency to freely bestow the most confidential and hidden knowledge of the Vedas. O Lord, we ardently desire and pray for that sublime Krishna Prema that you keep as a great mystery, offering liberation instead to spiritual aspirants. You are the supreme master of the entire creation, and you distribute priceless spiritual wealth because of your magnanimity. The chanting of your holy names is a fulfillment of all religious rituals and sacrifices. And now you are personally appearing in Navadvip to teach this practice. O Lord, be kind upon us, so that we may be fortunate enough to see your wonderful activities in Navadvip. O Lord, you will fulfill the innermost long-cherished desire of Sri Ganga Devi by sporting in her waters. Your exquisite transcendental form which mystic and yogis envision in their meditation, is now becoming manifest before all in Navadvip. I offer obeisance to the holy Navadvip Dham and the house of Jagannath Mission, Shrimati Sachidevi, where you are making your divine appearance. In this manner, Lord Brahma and other demigods remain unseen while daily offering the choicest prayers to the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Proprietor of the entire creation remain in the womb of Shrimati Sachidevi, and on the full moon night in the month of Phalguna, he appeared. That full moon night was the summum bonum of all the auspicious holy occasions of the entire cosmic manifestation combined. The Supreme Personality descended accompanied by the process of congregational chanting of the holy name. He would propagate this sublime process by practicing it himself. Who is able to know the wonderful pastimes of the Supreme Lord? He arranged a lunar eclipse at the time of his birth. Upon seeing the lunar eclipse, the residents of Navadvip began to loudly chant the Lord's holy name and make other auspicious sounds. Endless teeming millions congregated on the banks of the Ganges for holy ablutions and rent the air with loud chanting of the Lord's name. The tumultuous sound of their chanting penetrated the coverings of this material universe and traveled beyond Brahmaloka. All the saintly persons marveled at this wonderful chanting and prayed for the eclipse. All the devotees experienced deep exhilaration and exclaimed, "Such great joy! Maybe the Supreme Lord Krishna is making his appearance." The devotees went to the Ganges for their ablutions, surrounded by the roar of chanting from all directions. Women, children, aged, pious and impious, everyone loudly chant Lord Hari's holy name during the lunar eclipse. The only sound within the universe was the all-prevailing chanting, Hari, 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 Hari. The demigods showered flowers, confetti everywhere and proclaimed victory as they beat clamorously upon their dundubi drums. Amidst the resounding adulations, the Lord and the very soul of the universe appeared as the son of Shrimati Sachidevi. Rahu eclipsed the moon. The ocean of the holy name inundated Navadvip, drowning and subduing the darkness of Kali Yuga. The Supreme Lord was manifest. All the 14 worlds resounded with the profound news. The moon-like Lord Caitanya, Gauranga, had arisen. The residents of Nadia would be freed from all sorrows just by seeing the Lord, and their happiness and prosperity would increase day by day. The roll of dundubi drums, the trumpeting of thousands of conch shells, the shrills of flutes and horns, accompanied Vrindavan Dasa's song of praise to their lordships, Sri Caitanya, Sri Nityananda Prabhu. His beautiful, brilliant luster overshadowed the sun's shining rays and dazzled my eyes. His drawn out, blossoming, softly drooping lotus flowers defied descriptions. The air was surcharged with joy. Lord Chaitanya had descended to the material world. One roaring sound of Lord Hari's name reverberated throughout the universe beyond Brahmaloka, carrying the tidings of Lord Chaitanya's birth. His exquisite complexion was the color of sandalwood paste. His expensive breast was decorated with a gently swaying wildflower garland, and his radiant moon-like face was pleasing, cooling, and comforting. His elongated arms reached down to his knees. All directions. The earth felt especially blessed at the advent of Lord Chaitanya. Some sang with joy while others danced in ecstasy. While finally it was a calamity in the midst of revelry. The crown jewel of all Vedic conclusions are the Supreme Lord. I don't know how many more verses are in this chapter, but oh, it's almost finished. We're gonna finish this. We're gonna finish this. I, Vrindavan Das, offer this song to them. The golden moon, Lord Chaitanya, had arisen as sounds of great joy fill the air. His beauty humbled a million cupids, and it his own dancing and singing is smiled. His lovely face and charming eyes added to the marks of divinity upon his transcendental person. His feet were marked with auspicious signs of the flag and lightning. His entire exquisite form was decorated to enchant the minds of everyone. Fear and despondency were dissipated, and the world was showered with immense good fortune. I, Vrindavan Das, offer this song to my very life and soul, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. The demigods became overjoyed and sang in praise of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. A mere glance at the Lord's beatific moon-like face was enough to extirpate all miseries. This was a glorious and happy occasion. Lord Anantashesha, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other demigods all took up their new forms, and using the lunar eclipse as an excuse, continuously sang Lord Hari's name. I cannot fully describe their exultation. Millions, miling crowds pour into Nadia with shouts of Hari, Hari. Navadvipa was in the grips of unbounded bliss. The Supreme Lord, demigods, and human beings had all come together to frolic with another. The demigods came to Srimati Sachi Devi's house in the darkness of the eclipse, and unseen by humankind, fell to the ground and offered obeisance to Lord Chaitanya. Who can describe these abstruse pastimes of the Lord? Some demigods broke out in glorification. Some held an umbrella above the Lord. Some fanned him with chamaras, while others showered flowers in ecstasy, and still others sang and danced exuberantly. The Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya had appeared with all his pure devotees, and the atheists can never understand. I, Vrindavan Das, sing the nectarian glories of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. The rumble of Dundubi drums, hymns, prayers, and sweet music mingled and resound in the air. Today, immediately, we can meet that Supreme Personality who is a mystery, even in the Vedas. The demigods in Indrapuri were tumultuously happy, busily decorating themselves. They felt extremely fortunate that they could receive Lord Chaitanya's blessed association in Navadvip. They embraced and kissed each other without shame, in exultation that the Lord of Navadvip, Lord Chaitanya, had taken his birth. There was no distinction of friend or foe. In great curiosity, the demigods came to Navadvip amidst loud chanting of Krishna's name. Infected by the transcendental mellows of Lord Chaitanya, they became almost unconscious in ecstasy and joined in singing the glories of Lord Chaitanya. They saw the beautiful form of Lord Chaitanya. He was more exquisite than 1,000 rising full moons. He had accepted the human form and was making everyone loudly chanting the Lord's holy name, taking the eclipse as an excuse. The Supreme Lord had descended with all his energies and expansions. This is incomprehensible to the atheists. Let me, Vrindavan Das, sing in adulation about my life and soul, Lord Sri Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. So this is no doubt, even for the great demigods, we have seen the appearance of the Lord so many times during the creation. Many of these demigods, and particularly Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they have seen the Lord appear so many times. But this appearance of Lord Chaitanya is just so special because it's so full of mercy. It's so magnanimous. It comes to distribute to the most destitute, the most fallen souls, the most exalted process of self-realization, the easiest of all process, the chanting of the holy name. So it's a very rare occasion, Only once in the day of Lord Brahma, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to distribute the holy names. Very rare occasion. For most of the demigods, is the first time they have seen this wonderful form of the Lord as a human-like form of the Lord as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very unique, very special. So much mercy, so much mercy. And see, with the excuse of the eclipse, because when there is eclipse, people go to the holy places, immerse in the Ganga, and chant the holy names, because the eclipse itself is very inauspicious. So in order to create auspiciousness, they base in a holy river and chant the holy names. So they were already forecasting the predicting or practicing what the Lord was going to give to the world, the chanting of the holy names. So he appeared in the midst of the chanting of the holy names, taking the eclipse as an excuse. Jai Shri Gaura Nitai Ki Jai. We are far from realizing the incredible mercy that is given upon us. Yes, we certainly appreciate the fact that we can practice this wonderful process of devotional service by chanting the holy name, but we are far from realizing the extensive benefit of this mercy of the Lord upon us and upon the world, upon everyone in this Kali Yuga. It's just so amazing. So amazing. Any comment, any reflection, any question? You are much welcome.
Hare Krishna, Ashu.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I actually have a question because it is being described here, like the bodily features of Lord Chaitanya and all. So, of all the descriptions of Lord Chaitanya, what can we like meditate upon to easily remember him?
Well, the best feature of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that he is very joyfully, very joyfully giving, chanting and dancing in great jubilation with the holy names. He's distributing the holy names. For us, I think this is the highest aspect of the Lord, that he is so eager to help the conditioned souls by a process that is so simple, so simple. All yagyas in previous ages were so difficult, would be impossible for us to practice. But the chanting of the holy name, Srila Prabhupada said, you just need a tongue and ears, and you even have 2 ears. 1 tongue and 2 ears means you can hear more than you can chant. So this chanting, giving of the holy names is, I think, to me, is the most amazing feature of the Lord that we can meditate upon. The Lord came to grace us with his holy names, and by chanting his holy names, we can attain his lotus feet. We can go to his planet. It's just so amazing. So amazing, just by repeating the holy names. So it's for me. You're gonna read more in the next chapters, the horoscope and everything. You're gonna find many incredible signs, auspicious signs in his body, incredible signs that are very unique only the Supreme Lord. And certainly his beauty was was extremely amazed. All the ladies, or everybody was so amazed by the exquisite beauty of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even in his childhood. It's amazing. But to me, the most important feature we should meditate upon is what he came to give us, how he was so joyful, himself immersed in chanting the names of Krishna, to show us how this is the most joyful thing we can do. And it gives us the most joyful experience in life, means bring us to the perfection of chanting the holy names purely in love of Krishna. It's just so amazing. So amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Ashley. Yeah.
What
There's
was
also a
yours?
question.
What was yours?
Sorry?
What is the feature of the Lord that attracts you the most?
His eyes.
His eyes, yes.
Yes, especially
His
in
eye.
Mayapur down. I mean, I haven't been there, but every time I see the photos
Photos
of the
is beautiful,
Panchatattvas, yeah, really the
beautiful,
eyes.
beautiful eye, and his elongated arms, because
Yeah, yeah.
he was always dancing with his eyes upraised. His arms were so long that they could touch his knees.
It's
Our hands,
actually
when you put down your hands, you cannot touch your knees unless you bend yourself. But you could touch his knees just standing straight. So all along was his elongated were his arms. So when you
and
would
it,
appraise his arms, that's why when we when we chant Anita Gaur Hari Bol, the devotees always have this inclination, this tendency to raise their arms very high, because this is how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to dance, with his eyes upraised, so beautiful, so gracious form. But this we're gonna hear lots of that. Lots of that, lots of that. Now it's just a small child, a small baby that is already been glorified by Lord Brahma to all because they know why the Lord is appearing, and they know the Lord in so many other different appearances, and they were there also when Krishna appeared. So they know who is the Lord, but in this particular form, as Mahaprabhu, this so unique, so special. So they are so eager. The demigods are so joyful, so joyful. Hare Krishna. Thank you for knowing Dr. Oliver. My question is, explain in scripture the purpose of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's long arms that extended to his knees. Yeah, I guess it's just a very, 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 very special form, even though it's a human-like form. His eyes, everything about his chest, very broad, very special, and everything about his form is very special. And his arms, yes, very, very long arms, they extend his knees. Uh, why is like that? Why is that's his original form as Tanya Mahaprabhu? As Krishna is the best in everything, Krishna is also the best worshipper of himself. He is the best worshipper. So he came in a mood of Shrimati Radharani to worship Krishna. That's the mood of Shrimati Radharani. That's why he had a very beautiful, beautiful golden form of Shrimati Radharani, because he had the same mood of loving service of Shrimati Radharani that Shivrindavan Das Thakur does not reveal. Some of us, for some of us, it might be a little too rich English sometimes, but anyway, it's, even if we don't understand, and many things we may not understand, as Srila Prabhupada said, we just read, we just hear, because this is about the Lord, and everything about the Lord is purifying. Yes, even if you don't understand, What can we understand anyway? Our understanding is so poor, so meager. But we hear, because hearing about the glories of the Lord, about the appearance of the Lord, about his activities, is gradually terminating our existence in this material world and is preparing us to go back to Krishna. Just because of hearing with faith, with devotion, even if you don't understand. That's why it's good to pay attention, even though we may not understand everything, but it's so beneficial because this is all about the glorification of the Lord. Jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari 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 Bol.